Manchester United found themselves in amongst it last night against Omonia Nicosia, Neil Lennon's side, who came away from that fixture, I felt, Martin, with great credit last night. Do I remember, you've played against Omonia Nicosia, have you not?
Of course, yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, did they give you a problem then, or did you overcome them with ease?
I think it was a nice fixture. You know, it's a lovely place.
Yeah.
And in fact, I went back there for my holidays afterwards, so must have enjoyed it, Jim. Yeah, but they were nowhere near as good as they are right now then. So obviously their football's developed, but that was a bit rocky for Manchester United. I expected them to pull through though, Jim.
Yes.
Just whenever they concede against a low-level, opposition, everybody points the finger.
Well, Rashford Martial came off the bench to rescue United, but did last night show, Martin, that Ten Hag is right to persist with leaving certain big stars out in the cold? He's doing it his way.
Well, their season improved, didn't it? If you think back to, they lost the first two matches, they made all those changes against Liverpool, so they took the two English boys out of the team. Ronaldo at the top of the team, Rashford came in.
Yeah.
So, I'm not. I mean, the thing is, Ronaldo. The talk about is he disrespecting him? I think, Jim, they're the rules of football and life. If you hang around long enough, Jim, someone will tap you on the shoulder and say, "Do you know what, Jim? It's over." And that's almost what's happening for Ronaldo. I admire, though, his attitude and his instinct to want to keep going, and eventually,
What, Ronaldo's? Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Well, he's got to, hasn't he?
Yeah, I admire you as well.
Yeah,
but,
well, very much so.
Yeah.
Who's going to tap him on the shoulder?
Well, I don't know.
Jim.
Yeah, somebody, if you're there around
Actually
long
me.
enough. Yeah, so you either decide to go, Jim, on your terms, or eventually someone said, there's a young guy now coming up, Jim. You've been magnificent. Okay, this is what's happening for Ronaldo. But the instinct for you will be, no, I'm carrying on. Oh, no. And I admire that with Ronaldo.
Ten Hag started this, though, about it would have been disrespectful to have played him against Manchester City or brought him on against Manchester City.
They're 6-0 down.
But that's contextual, isn't it? I mean, I think he's right. What would be the purpose of sending on Ronaldo when you're getting absolutely...
Roy Keane was saying, why not? If you're looking for a goal, he'll get you one.
But the context of the respect argument and disrespect argument is that Ten Hag opened that can, but he opened it with a nuanced perspective, which is the team are getting their head handed to them. They're getting their backsides kicked. What would be the purpose of throwing Ronaldo on to be part of that shambles?
I have that same interpretation of why he did it. And it's like, okay, he'll batter me even more. I'm putting him on now when, the game's dead. So why would I put him on? But Ronaldo feels, no, I want to come on and get my goals tally up. I want to improve, as the guys did who came on anyway.
Yeah.
But, I don't want Ronaldo to kind of give up on it, but eventually he has to understand that you start, there has to be a decline.
Absolutely.
Eventually you're not the man you were, but he's still got that fighting spirit. And that's where it got him. That's why he's been an outstanding player.
To realise
but I suppose there's an alternative argument which suggests that there might have been, not that I'm aware of this, but there might have been opportunities for him to go somewhere else and be starting lineup for someone else. And so what people will be alluding to is he could have been let go, which is it's not his gift to be let go. He signed a contract. It's his gift to reserve his contract. And ultimately, if he'd have been let go, as people suggest he should have been, like Roy Keane, and then the School of Economics that Roy Keane follows, is that he'd have gone to another club that would have put him in the starting lineup. But that's just life, and too bad. He's an elite footballer and probably arguably one of the best that's ever walked a football pitch since the dawn of time. But he is not above the size of a football club.
Jim, most players, when they get to 37 years of age, he's the second oldest player in the Premier League. Thiago's the oldest. When they get to that age, there's a bad back, there's a problem with the knee, there's an ankle injury. And in a cold light of day, they're kind of, okay, let's give my best to this club and let's accept where we are. But for him, he's not. He's got a clear bill of health. What's happening is he's just not at the same level he was. Nothing hurts, everything works correctly, and then he can't accept sitting on the bench, because he wants to play. And those days, you can never get those days back.
No.
So I see both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're hoping that he's passing on this great professionalism
I
and
personally
knowledge
think
to the
too
other
much
players
is
in that
made of
group.
it. I mean, I personally think there's too much conversation about Ronaldo. I mean, for
it's
right
not going
reasons
away,
and
Jim.
wrong.
It's not going away because of his career,
This was Ten Hag pre-match on that very subject.
Oh, he's not happy that he wasn't playing Sunday. Don't get me wrong, but that wasn't the question. The question was how he's on the training pitch and what his mood is when he is around. Then he's happy, but of course he wants to play, and he's off when he's not playing. Yeah, clear.
I mean, that goes for everybody, Martin, doesn't it?
I think
you would be unhappy
I
when you weren't.
I don't see
in the
what
lineup
I
for
don't see
Arsenal.
what I don't see what the problem is, Jim. Ten Hag is just basically expressing what the view that look, okay, he's not happy, but through the week, by the way, he gets on with it, no problem. But he makes me aware that he doesn't want to be sitting on the bench. I mean, there are, Jim. If you look up and down the country, there seems to be a lot of players quite happy to sit on the bench and pick up their dough.
That's right.
So let's applaud the fact that he wants to play. He could just sit back and say, it's been fantastic, but he isn't. He's a winner. He wants to play. He wants to prove he can.
But they all should be winners. Nobody should want to sit in the bench. I love how we single out Ronaldo for this. He's a winner. Of course he is, but they all should be.
But no one's singling him out. Ronaldo is the constant theme, and Ten Hag is sat there with a constant question. Correct. So what he's doing is he's framing it the right way. He's saying, if I had a manager that's got a player like Ronaldo on the dugout, and he turns around and says he's peed off that he's not playing, I'd be pleased to hear it. I'd hate to think he was unhappy. I was happy sitting there. And tragically, what you're saying is that should be the norm, but it isn't the norm.
Well, no club's bigger.
No
player is bigger than the club, but Simon. But in this case, you know where I'm going. Shall we make an exception?
Well, no, because listen. The bottom line is Ronaldo is under contract to Manchester United because he chose to be. He signed a contract with Manchester United because he wanted that contract. It hasn't gone the way that he wanted it to, and neither has it gone the way that the club anticipated that their form would have gone. He has to pull in like everybody else. It's a fact of life. Father Time knocks on everybody's door. At 37 years of age, it's unlikely he can play 50, 60 games a season, or even probably 40.
Jim,
so with that in mind,
you've got to be careful you're not getting the wrong end of the stick here. Yeah, because
what would be on the end of that stick?
Who is to say that he's not setting the right example? Because he works really hard through the week. He's disappointed when he sits on the bench, and maybe some of the other players aren't. And they'll look at him and say, "What? He's nearly 38. Look at him. He's a monster."
The tragedy of that argument, Martin, is when you disappear at half-time in a pre-season friendly when you're not supposed to, and when you roll your eyes endlessly on the pitch, and when you gesticulate from the side of the pitch like he's been doing, you open up those headlines that actually you're not doing things the right way.
Well, he came back very late for pre-season, so there's obviously an issue.
But he came back, yes, absolutely, and then he came back and wandered off at half-time because
would have been disappointed with that. Extremely as the manager.
So that's where the narrative comes from.
So that's where it comes from. That's where it stems from. Absolutely right.
Yeah, but
Simon.
that's not happening now, is it?
What about Arsenal? You pleased for them? Are they showing that they could end up being the real deal if they're not already?
Well, I don't think we should be getting carried away, Jim. I think I'm really, really pleased with what I'm seeing at the moment. I mean, we were looking at Spurs, Arsenal, which one of those teams would give us that indication that they could challenge Man City, and I think Arsenal came up trumps at the weekend. I was really impressed with the way they responded. I thought Spurs were getting back into the game, Jim. I know they like to play this conservative way, patient way, defensive way.
Yeah.
But it was about handling their front three, and I thought Arsenal's central defenders looked really impressive. And then Jesus, the man is just going to another level. I know Haaland ticks all the boxes, but this fella now has got his wings. He's playing in the middle, and he is the role model for the Arsenal players.
Yeah.
And they are going to the next level, Jim. Whether they can then sustain that remains to be seen.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.